today we are going to start with a crash course of the 10th standard. Today I am taking a science 2. The chapter name is Heredity and Evolution. Okay, so let's start with some important definition. Okay, so when you talk about the heredity, what is heredity means? Heredity. The heredity simply means the transfer of the biological information from one generation to another generation is called heredity. What is heredity? The transfer of the biological character from the one generation to the another generation, and that is via gene. So what is gene exactly? Is nothing but your biological information that is transferring from one generation to another generation. Other things, that is transcription, translation and translocation. Okay, so let's have a look over here. We know that DNA molecule stands for deoxyribonucleic acid, is nothing but your storage house of your gene, that is called biological character. Okay, so what is biological character over here? Is nothing but DNA. So DNA is the storage house of your all the genes. Okay, now what is gene? Nothing but gene storage in a form of your codons. Okay, now what is happening in a transcription? Trans, that simply means forward reaction. Scription means actually scripting takes place over here. What is the scripting exactly here? The messenger RNA. What is messenger RNA? Is nothing but your mRNA, or it stands for messenger RNA, that is able to transfer information, that is biological information, from the DNA to your ribosomes. Okay, what is ribosomes? Which further leads to your protein synthesis. So, can I say that transcription is a process in which the mRNA transfer the biological information, that is nothing but a gene, from your DNA molecule to the ribosome, is termed as transcription. So, this process is termed as transcription. Okay, so next process is what? Your translation. So now, up till now in ribosomes, the ribosomes have got information from the DNA molecule via mRNA that he has to perform a protein synthesis. So now come into the picture, that is tRNA. What is tRNA over here? The transfer RNA which helps the ribosomes to make a protein synthesis. Okay, protein synthesis. This is the process is called translation. What is translation? Once the messenger RNA transfer the information to the ribosome, now ribosome needs a amino acid to produce a protein synthesis, definitely. So the tRNA will bring all the required amino acid from that 20 amino acid to the ribosome, and the ribosome further do the protein synthesis. Here, in case of protein synthesis, there is a one definition that we can find out, that is a central dogma. That is a central dogma. So what is central dogma? Central dogma is nothing but a protein synthesis made by the information generated by the DNA to your RNA to the ribosome. That is called central dogma. Okay. Now, we done with the translation now. That is a translocation. What is translocation? Now we are just sharing the information that the information from the DNA is going to transfer to ribosomes, and then ribosomes perform the protein synthesis. But why are doing a protein synthesis? Okay, so why are doing a protein synthesis? You know that DNA is a double stranded molecule, definitely. Okay, so if the mRNA comes into the picture, it will scan or scrape the information from the DNA and then transfer to the ribosome, that we have studied in the transcription process. Now what is translation? That tRNA comes into the picture and generate the protein synthesis with the help of the ribosomes. And now we are going to know about the translocation. What is translocation? Whenever there is a mRNA comes into the picture, mRNA what do? It actually identify what is the codon on the your original strands of DNA and moves further for a further identification of the codon. So in case of translocation, what happened? This mRNA moves to the next codon for the identification, and the transfer of the identification of the codon by one mRNA distance is called translocation. So here we done with the transcription, where the information just transferred from the DNA to ribosomes. translation where ribosomes are performing the protein synthesis and translocation, where mRNA moves further for the further process. This is all about these three. Topic is mutation. What is mutation exactly? Now we have done with transcription and translation. We know that the transcription is process where the messenger RNA transcribes the DNA information towards the ribosomes, and that is translation, which leads further protein synthesis with the help of ribosomes. Now what is mutation? The mutation exactly I have written in between this. That means while transferring, the DNA is a gene house. We know that it's going to transfer information with the help of mRNA. What actually do mRNA is actually scan all the codons, that is ATGC in form. If suppose we are taking a microscopic form of that, so ATGC, so the mRNA is going to have a complementary triplet codon, right? So what is the triplet codon is known as the complementary one. In form of A, adenine is there, then thymine is there. So apart from this is going on. So now we should know what DNA and the RNA only having a one difference, that in RNA instead of thymine molecule it contains uracil molecule. Okay. So now what is happening over here? We are talking about the mutation. What is mutation? A minor change occurring via transcription to the translation via identification of the codon. If there in case of G it become T or it become A over here, so it cause a slight mutation, that is slight change in the process. Point that is called evolution. So here I have give you key points, that is 4 key points, and on basis of this we are going to describe what is evolution. Okay. So when you talk about the evolution, what is evolution? First, that is gradual change in long duration. So how can you define that? So evolution is nothing but defined as a gradual change of a living organism over a long duration or a period. That's called evolution. The evolution is a very slow process in which the development of your organisms takes place. That means for development purpose of the organism to change any specific organ or component, it requires a very long duration, and that is called slow process. So evolution is not just happen, it is required a very gradual change and it requires a very long time period. The third point is study of evolution. What is the study of evolution? We have study of evolution, that the study of evolution include lot many points, that is the ranging from the study of evolution include all the changes occurring while the gradual changes. So study of evolution include all the changes. Next one is the formation of the new species. What is formation of new species in evolution? Definitely the formation of new species, because there are a lot of many changes takes place according to long duration. There are so many changes, so it gives rise to a new species, and that is nothing but your natural selection. And for that basis of natural selection, there is known as theory of evolution that we study in a next slide. Theory of evolution is based on your natural selection. Okay, the natural selection is nothing but the natural selection is actually give rise to the evolution. Okay, so now what is the first living material that is found in your ocean? And that is nothing but your protoplasm. Okay, now apart from that protoplasm, once the unicellular species are got rise, like amoeba, paramecium, are nothing but grouped in the unicellular. What is unicellular? The organism which contains only the one cell which carry out all the activities. Okay, from the unicellular, that is from the unicellular, the further is going to form a multicellular, that is more organized one. So natural selection depend on this kind of things. Now from the unicellular, the more complex, means evolution shifts the unicellular towards the more complex organisms. Okay, now the theory of evolution also includes something progressive development. What is progressive development? The progressive development of animal or plant over the long duration of evolution, over the long duration of a time, it has some changes in their specific components or all the organs that sum up into the theory of evolution. Now we should know the evidence of the evolution or morphological evidence. What is morphological evidence? When you talk about the morphological evidence, that means some animals have a same structure, like the hairs on the body, the mouth, the nostrils, and all kind of things comes under the morphological. The second one is anatomical. Okay, when you talk about anatomical, let's talk about the bones related things over in anatomy. Hand, and your bell flipper, it has some similarities. Definitely they have some similarities that comes under the anatomical. The third part is your vestigial organs. When you talk about your vestigial organs means, so vestigial simply means they are useless organs, but apart from the, see, whenever the evolution has started, whenever the evolution has started, they earlier they were in use, but right now they are not in use. For example, your wisdom tooth, your tailbone, these are the organs considered as the vestigial organs. The fourth one is your embryonic development. When you talk about your embryonic development, that is some part or some stages, all the embryo look very similar, but apart when they go on growth period, we will find a different identification there. So these are the sum of the thumb. Okay, your paleontological. Okay, when you talk about the paleontological, the first comes in our mind is your fossil. What is a fossil? Let's talk about the fossil. When you talk about the fossils are one. The organisms got buried under some natural calamities like a floods and volcano eruption. They got buried under two soil surfaces. So they leave their impression over there, and that is called nothing but your fossils. Okay. Now, how can a fossil tells about the evolution theory or evolution evidence? Because fossils are identical over there. The fossil gives information. Now, there is a subtopic called as carbon dating over there. So what do you mean by carbon dating? We should know there are present C12 and C14 naturally present are there. So the C14 is a radioactive one, C12 is a stable one. So whenever there is a ratio is going to change between the C14 and C12, will actually identify the evolution, and this helps us for the purpose of evolution theory.
The topic is Darwin's theory. In Darwin's theory, we have a book known as Origin of Evolution. Why Darwin's theory? Because there is a scientist known as Darwin who has put forth the theory. There will be species. The species will fight against each other in the nature. The best one will survive in the nature, and they will even reproduce and give rise to the next generation. So, in the Origin of Evolution, there will be given that species which will fight. For example, a tiger and a lion will fight among each other, and the one which will win will survive, and the other which won't win will be replenished from the nature. Darwin's theory and the book in which evolution theory of evolution has been described. And now we'll see the main objectives. What are the objectives and limitations of this theory? So, what is the first, the only theory for evolution? Even there are other theories which has been put forth for the topic of evolution. Second, Darwin has not mentioned any useful and useless points in the theory. He has only given the advantages. He has not mentioned that what objectives are useful and what objectives are useless. And the third point is, in nature there are slow and gradual changes. In this theory, we have discussed the topics. So we have to take a just quick review of the following topics. That is Darwin's theory. In Darwin's theory, there will be competition among the two species, and the one which will win will survive in the nature. And the book, which is Origin of Evolution, was written by scientist Darwin. So in that we will have a brief study of the following. The topic is Lamarckism. In Lamarckism, what is the actual meaning of Lamarckism? That the man who gave this theory which we are going to study further. So Lamarckism is a theory in which there will be morphological changes. In what content morphological changes? That is because of some laziness or their activeness, their organs or specific functions will be evoluted or it will be changed. Best example of this theory we can give is of giraffe. For giraffe, before they were having the short necks. Because of the short necks, it was difficult for them for browsing leaves. Browsing leaf means for getting their food. So what happened? Their neck evolved and the size of the neck increased. So they reached at a point where they can eat the leaves. So we see giraffes, they have a big size neck, so they can easily take off the leaves from the trees. It is not all of the sudden. It requires several years to happen. So this thing took several years and several decades of years for this evolution to take place. So before we saw Darwin's theory, it had advantage and disadvantage. This theory further was banished. It was not actually accepted because this theory was not proved in all aspects. It was proved in only certain species. It was not able to explain this concept in other species. So this speciation, the word itself is giving the idea of speciation, species. In this, it is given that species will reproduce and give rise to next species. Next species is the same species, but they will reproduce and give rise to next generation, in fact. So they produce further individuals, means for example human beings will produce the further individuals. They will be fertile, and further will produce more individuals. So it will give rise to speciation. And because of this speciation, even other factors will be responsible for that, will be geographical and reproductive changes. These speciations will also be affected by geographical and reproductive changes.
Like the video, enjoy it a lot. Okay, so please do subscribe our channel and like the videos, and definitely press the bell icon for next update.